Reports indicate that Denver Broncos general manager George Paton's job is safe. What's up, guys? Welcome to Denver Broncos Syndicate, part of the Sports Syndicate family of channels where we're dedicated to bringing you content about our favorite sports teams. I am your host, Gage Madrid. Before we jump in, guys, if you could just do me a big favor and leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the notification bell, that would be awesome. We're trying to get to 1,100 subscribers, guys, so let's see if we could possibly get there by Christmas. So everybody in Broncos country is trying to find somebody to blame for where this team is currently sitting. We're currently sitting at 3-9, and with last week's loss to the Baltimore Ravens, the team clinched their 6th losing season in a row. Now, this year was the year where all of that was supposed to end with the trade for Russell Wilson and the hiring of Nathaniel Hackett. Unfortunately, neither one of them yielded the results that we expected when we brought them in, as this team is averaging a league-worst 13.8 points per game. That is a low for even as low as this team has been these past few years. Now, ultimately, a lot of people in Broncos country are calling for GM George Paton's head for making those moves. Paton, of course, is in his 2nd season as the Broncos general manager, and almost immediately once he was brought in, he started putting his stamp on the organization. A new era was really signaled in Broncos country in the middle of last season when George Paton shipped away face of the franchise Von Miller to the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for 2nd and 3rd round draft picks. That was Paton's first blockbuster move as Broncos general manager, and he in turn used some of that draft capital to trade for Russell Wilson. Now, even with what we know now, I probably still would have made that trade for Russell Wilson if I were George Paton, but it's pretty clear that the move this offseason to sign him to that massive contract extension was clearly the bad move. We hadn't even seen him play a snap with the team yet, and we were banking on what he had done in the past as opposed to what he was showing now. Now, this offseason is going to be the Broncos' first under the new Walton Penner ownership group, and there are some amongst Broncos country who feel that they are going to want to put their stamp on this organization, and they may do a full-blown house cleaning with head coach and general manager. Now, it's all but guaranteed that Nathaniel Hackett's going to be gone at the end of the year, but the question is, what about George Paton? During his weekly appearance on Mark Schlereth and Mike Evans' show on 104.3 The Fan, NFL insider Adam Schefter was asked if Paton's job was safe. I can expect that George Paton is going to be safe. I don't think he's going anywhere. You can write that down for sure. I think that George Paton is somebody who is respected and has done a good job. Obviously, he hasn't had a great year. The whole organization hasn't had a great year, but I expect George Paton to be back in 2023. Now, when you break down George Paton's tenure as Broncos general manager, there has certainly been some good. His 2 draft classes have been really solid. He's added some impact players in the draft, such as Pat Surtain, Quinn Miners, Greg Dulcich, and Damari Mathis. Although he has also certainly had some whiffs, especially in the middle rounds. My biggest whiff that comes to mind is taking Montrell Washington in the 5th round. That was just a horrible draft pick. So his drafts have certainly been overall solid, but his free agency classes have left something to be desired. The big move that this offseason a lot of people will think of is the decision to pay Randy Gregory instead of Von Miller. Von Miller wanted to come back to Denver, but it seems like the Broncos had no interest in bringing him back. Granted, both players have dealt with injuries this season. By the way, speedy recovery to Von Miller. It was just announced that he's out for the year with a torn ACL. But regardless, you probably should have brought back Von Miller at the end of the day, man. He's the guy who had the emotional connection to this fan base, and yes, Randy Gregory's played well when he's been on the field, but even with Von Miller's injury issues, he's been on the field longer than Randy Gregory has. Again, quite a bit of good and quite a bit of not so good with George Paton as Broncos general manager, but I don't feel like he's done enough to justify him getting fired. The good has outweighed the bad in my opinion, as bad of a look as the Russell Wilson contract has been, but still, I feel like George Paton is a really solid general manager and somebody who has overall put this team in a position to do good things. Unfortunately, his splash moves just haven't worked out. It's going to be interesting to see how the new ownership group perceives this, and it's going to be interesting to see how much they meddle on the football side in their first true offseason as Broncos owners. I'm curious, Broncos country, how much of the blame needs to go to George Paton for where we're sitting today? Drop those comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. And while you're at it, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Gage Madrid NFL for even more Broncos coverage. And for now, this has been another episode of Denver Broncos Syndicate. I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.